Peace and blessings is real. First and foremost, I want to take this time and give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh through his only begotten Son, Yahweh, for allowing this word to come out. And I hope you sincere brothers and sisters is edified by this word. And the name of the lesson, man, is going to be called Wicked and Evil Men Will Pose as the Serpent to deceive women into sin, like in the days of Genesis, man. Let me say it again, man. The name of the word tonight is going to be Wicked and Evil Men Will Pose as the Serpent to deceive women into sin, like in the days of Genesis, man. And anybody that's familiar with the serpent deceiving woman, it was none other than the serpent deceiving Eve. And to this day, we are paying for that sin because that ultimately led Adam to falling by way of sin. And this was established in the beginning of time. And we are approaching, or how should I put it? We are in perilous times, aka we are dealing with the last days, man. And in this word, what I want to show you is that you're going to have corruption, okay, corrupt influence, okay, of men, not no regular men, not no ordinary men, but it's going to be corruption influence of men with Bibles, okay? These men are going to be toilers of Satan, okay? And these last days, in these perilous times, man, these men are going to put on their serpent costume, like what you see on the screen. This is symbolic to a serpent, you see? And men today are going to put on that serpent costume to deceive the women into sin, just like they did in the days of Genesis. You dig? We're going to come to you in 2 Timothy. The main scripture we're going to come out with, 2 Timothy chapter 3, is verse 6. It's going to be the main scripture we're going to focus on. But to lead you up to 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 6, we're going to start at verse 1. 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1. It reads, "This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come." Okay? And then we in those days, okay? We in the last days, and we are currently dealing with perilous times, man. And I'm just going to paraphrase verses 2 leading all the way up through 5, and then we're going to close it out in the point in verse 6. But in these last days, man, perilous times is going to arrive, which we are currently there. I mean, you just look at everything that's going on in the world. I mean, all the madness, everything that's going on is straight chaos, man. So the last days, the signs is here. Perilous times, we in those times, man. The Bible speaks about in 2 Timothy chapter 3, for men shall be lovers of their own selves. Okay, covetous. In other words, they're going to be money lovers, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to their parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, proud, lovers of pleasures, more than the lovers of Yahweh, having a form of godliness, but deny the power thereof. From such turn away, man. And we in those days. And this is mainly dealing with the corrupt influence of men with Bibles is going to be the main ones, man. that's going to come up with a real cunning, serpent-ish strategy of corruption in the last days, man. And the main scripture we're going to come out with dealing with this word is in verse 6 of 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 6. And it says, "For of this sort are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women laden with sins, led away with divers lusts." We are in those times right now, man. Okay, once again, who are we dealing with? We are dealing with corrupt influence with men with Bibles, aka toilers of Satan. You see? And what was the first thing that it speaks about in 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 6? It says, "For of this sort are they which creep into houses." You see that? Now, let's analyze that. Okay, these men are going to creep into houses. All right. So, in other words, man, in the last days, before the return of Yahweh, you're going to have these men, okay, creep in, insinuate oneself, and enter into the houses, okay, into the dwelling places. And the particular households that these cunning men are going to be really attracted to is going to be the houses that have wealth, the houses that's symbolic to wealth, the houses that's symbolic to goods. You see, that's going to be the houses that they are definitely interested in creeping into. It says, "For of this sort are they which creep into houses and led captive silly women, laden with sins, led away with divers lusts." All right. So these men are going to lead captive silly women. What type of women? Foolish women, simple women. Most importantly, is going to be gullible women. You see, because women that's gullible when it comes to men with the Bibles, especially in the last days, these are the type of women that's going to believe and pay attention to anything these men say, as long as the demonstration is nice and it tickles their ears. They're going to they're going to be vulnerable to their houses being crept into, and at the same time led captive, okay, being that they simple women. You see? Yeah, man, because you got to understand something. What's far more, the women household is going to be far more attractive to infiltrate, you see, because like the serpent knew when dealing with Eve, being a woman, the serpent understood one thing, that the women, especially a gullible, simple, foolish woman, is more liable to be taken in by an imposter, such as a man with a Bible that's really a wicked, false prophet type individual. You see, and we're not talking about a particular section of wicked men with Bibles. We're talking about all over the world. This is all over. Whether you in the haunted house, aka a church, whether you a televangelist, whether you on the radio, whether you on YouTube, whether you out on the street corners, it all applies. All these particular men, not all, but all these different sections of men is going to have that same influence of corruption, man. And what they're going to do is they're going to target what? It says, for of this sort are they which creep into houses and led captive silly women. Okay, not women that got discernment, but silly women. You see? Silly women, it says what? Laden with sin. Okay? It's going to be women that's loaded up, piled up, heaped up of consciousness of wandering and violating the Lord's divine law. You see that? So it's not going to be a woman that has discernment. This is going to be a woman that's gullible, that's primed up for sin. See, she's already primed up to be misled. Just like Eve was primed up to be misled, because when the serpent came to her, she was supposed to go right away, deviate from dude, and go find her husband to deal with this man. You see? It's cold-blooded, man. It says in 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 6, for of this sort are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women laden with sin. Okay? And it says, what else? Led away with divers lust. In other words, these women is going to be urged. They're going to be urged on by the blind impulse of desires for what is forbidden. You dig? That's exactly what you're going to have going on in these perilous times, in these days that we are dealing with right now. That's why, again, the name of the word is called wicked and evil men will pose as the serpent to deceive women into sin, like in the days of Genesis, man. And we in the days of Genesis again. We in the garden again. You dig? We in the garden again, and we already been told what the instructions is in regards to what tree we can eat and what tree we are not to eat. And guess what? Wicked and evil men is going to pose up to the woman and deceive her into sin again, like in the days of Genesis. And us being Adam today, we gon' fall again. You see? That's right, man. Like I said, you know, First, 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1 says it all. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. And we in those days, man. And like I said, the nasty and the more grimy that it gets in today's world that we live in, you're going to have men in particular, men with Bibles, that's going to have a strategy of corruption for these last days. And their whole understand me is going to lean towards the simple, gullible woman, man. Yeah, this is cold-blooded, man. I hope you sincere brothers and sisters was edified by this word. We give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh through his only begotten son, Yahweh, for allowing this word to come out. And hey, watch out, man, for these men that got their serpent costume on, man. Word.